What's up, guys? Today we're back with another episode of Patron Saints of Something, and we have a special guest today, Jordy.
Yep, that's me.
Jordy is from another podcast known as Salt in the Sea, and he read the book Salt to the Sea. He's super cool and good at basketball.
Yep, that's totally right. I'm so glad to be here on this awesome podcast and learn more about your book. So let me know, Brian, what's the background looking like for your bow? Wait, what's it called again?
Patron Saints of Nothing.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, of course. So Patron Saints of Nothing is a novel written by Randy Rebay and was published in 2019. And it's pretty much about this Filipino boy in America that learns his cousin was killed, which is not good.
Holy crap, dude, that's pretty deep.
And yeah, and as he learns more about his cousin's death, whose name is John, by the way, the numbers don't add up for him. He receives some odd information from an anonymous user on Instagram, which becomes significant later on.
Wait. So, what do you mean by the facts weren't adding up leading to June's death?
Oh yeah, so pretty much Jay, our main character, read an article about his death, and it mentioned that it involved drugs, which he didn't think would make sense.
Oh, I see.
So the unknowingness of what happened to John actually drives Jay to go back to the Philippines to understand what happened. When he heads back, he learns more about his culture and gains a better understanding of the Philippines.
So, what do you mean it was both good and bad?
So yeah, he meets his cousins, including Grace. He has this friend Mia, and with them he learns that the Philippines is actually a pretty corrupt place, specifically in that his uncle, known as Tito Manning, was involved in the murder of John. Jay also learns that John was allegedly reported selling drugs, which drives him into a lot of conflict where he questions who his cousin really is.
Whoa. Let's take a step back here. So basically, as Jay stays longer in the Philippines, he learns more about the complexity of his cousin's life?
Precisely that. And as the story continues to develop, Jay learns more about the corruption in the Philippines and John's life through characters and personal items. All these things led him to finally confront his uncle about what happened.
Wait. Tell me more about what the uncle and what happens at the confrontation.
Yeah, so basically his uncle was a pretty bad guy. He was kind of like a local chief, but he was pretty corrupt, and he denied a lot of the allegations surrounding John. And nearing the end of his confrontation, his uncle actually snaps and almost chokes him out on the spot.
Bro, what? That's not very nice of him.
Yeah. After it happens, Jay also plans a mini funeral for John, which Tito Manning doesn't even attend. Shortly after, Jay heads back to the Americas, where he doesn't really find a resolution, but he kind of wants to go back to the Philippines later on.
Ugh, that seems like it's a pretty boring ending to the book, don't you think?
Yeah, and it kind of leads you right into the cons. I thought some of the areas of the book were super slow and useless. Kind of like a scene in the book where it just talks about Jay's experience driving back to his family's house in the Philippines, which was kind of just filler. I also hate how Jay doesn't really find a resolution.
That's kind of annoying. But would there be anything that you would want to, say, change about this book?
100%. I think I could shorten the book by 150 to 200 pages and pretty much get the same effect.
So it's pretty wordy. What are some other things you don't like about the book?
I think that the story of how Jay develops and matures over time is pretty interesting. I also like how the book talks about more sensitive topics, like his cousin selling drugs, corruption in government, and sexual assault.
Ooh, so there's some tough topics in there. What age group do you think you'd recommend this to?
I think it fits perfectly in the mid-high school level, because some of these topics like drugs, corruption, and sexual assault may seem like big, scary topics, but they help give a better understanding of the world, which might appeal to some. And his experiences with the corruption of government should be parallel to our world, and that teenagers should also be able to understand that.
So do you think there's a wider connection to the world and throughout?
Yeah, and I think Jay's view and action of questioning the corruption should be applied in everyday life throughout the world. All people should be able to question authority.
Well, flippin' spoken, Brian. Just absolute cinema.
Well, all right, guys, that does it for our time on the podcast today. Thank you so much for listening to Patron Saints of Something Special today.
Until next time.
Tune in next week for another episode.